Under the Hood.
So welcome back to Under the Hood with Richard Fair, myself, Tim Bowen, and HMTV, Hildebrand Motors Television. And today we're going to be talking about questions that have come to us from viewers like you and just people that come in generally. And so we're going to touch on some of those. If you do have some questions that you would like to pose yourself and that we could address in another segment or something, let us know. You can email myself at timb@hildebrandmotors.com or Richard
F@hildebrandmotors.com.
Perfect. So, like I said, any questions that you want us to talk about or anything at all, just give us an email and we'd love to hear from you. So let's start with the list that we have going here right now, the frequently asked questions. What are the most expensive repairs that you see in the dealership?
For the most part, we experience I guess what we do find most often is the engine components, transmission components, differential components, and probably air conditioning type repairs when we have catastrophic failures of compressors and that type of thing. Usually the engine ones are related to something that was neglected. Belts that fall off, engine overheats, transmissions. Those issues are when you're pulling a load maybe too heavy for what the truck or the car was rated for, that type of thing. And those are generally the major components that we see with the highest expenses.
Okay. So another question we have is it okay to have someone erase codes for me?
Unless you're actually a trained technician and you understand the code that you're diagnosing or looking at and what that code actually entails, it's probably not a great idea to erase it. From our perspective, once the code's gone or erased, we lose some of the information we need to diagnose something properly. So if you come in and say, oh, I had the check engine light erased, it's not on right now, but I'm still experiencing some issues, then it makes it a little bit tougher for us, and it may end up costing more time in the long run,
right,
to find out what's the actual problem.
So for us lay people that are not mechanics, what are codes?
Codes are warning indicators that you may have. Let's use an example as engines. If there's a misfire code, it'll help us to determine which cylinder is misfiring. Transmission codes, sometimes if you have some electronic issues internally, we have ways of diagnosing that a lot quicker than if we have to get right into the transmission and find out what the problem is.
So basically, when there's an issue with your vehicle, say the check engine light comes on, or if it's not running properly, or it could be anything, the computer in the car makes a code for that error.
Exactly.
And then when you hook up a tool that you have to the vehicle, it reads those codes. Is that correct?
Yes, it does. And it helps us to isolate which system it's actually related to. There's your engine, your transmission, there's emission systems, there's an exhaust emission system, there's a evaporative emission system, and I know that's getting kind of technical, but it's all in the perspective of pollution control. So usually check engine lights are more so related to something that's controlling pollutants, and when the check engine light is on for an engine concern, it's usually a more something that's more important to address. So
great. So basically, if your car is kind of running rough or whatever, and there is some error messages on the dash, best to do is to bring it into a dealership and so that they can figure out what the codes are, not just to go to Joe Blow's garage and get him just to erase them out. Is that correct?
Exactly. There are, of course, are circumstances where people have left gas caps off in that type of scenario, where it's a simple fix, and it may not even be a really major issue, but you don't always know them.
Okay, so the next question is, if these error messages do come on and we don't get it fixed right away, is it okay to drive it the way it is?
Exactly. This is a question we get asked all the time. You know, when the guy's on the highway and he's on his cell phone, and can I drive it? And, you know, for the most part, we're not there to hear the noise or to see what the issue is, or don't have a tool handy. It's really hard for us to say yes or no. And the more information you can give to us, if you are on the phone and you're stranded, the better off we are. You know, taking note of what happened before and after and during the check engine light issue. Now, generally, if the car's running fine, you don't smell anything burning or funny exhaust smell or anything like that, you're probably okay. Nowadays, a lot of the codes will limit your speed. It'll limit your shifting, and if that's the case, do not drive it.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, you're probably causing harm, and you may also be a hazard on the road if you continue to drive. So.
All right. The other question I guess we get a lot is, can I do it myself? Can I fix this myself? Can I get rid of the problem myself? You know.
Yeah, again, another question that's kind of, when you call us, we're kind of vague about it because we don't always know for sure what your issue is to start with. If you already know and are into it to know what component you're replacing, we generally assume that you know what you're doing. So in that case, you may be able to repair it, but is the check engine light still on after you've done the repair? You may still have to come in and do have us clear the code or verify that it is repaired. You know, if you're not a trained technician and you're taking on a pretty major repair, you know, as I've had a fellow ask about doing timing chains, and you know, like I said, if you understand the theory behind the engine and how everything works, you're probably far enough ahead where you can do some of the repairs yourself.
But it's always best to call, ask questions.
Always best to ask questions.
Yeah.
And we'll definitely let you know if you're in over your head or if you need special tools or that type of thing.
Right. The other thing too, I think a lot of people are afraid to call or afraid to come in, and I think, you know, sometimes people have this really bizarre way of looking at garages.
Yes.
And you know, like one of the things that I was, it's kind of funny. One of the things that I was, my son mentioned to me watching the show, and he was watching the one with Karen talking about the business office, and in the beginning of the show it has under the hood and all that kind of stuff, and then we were talking to this lady, and he was saying, you know, it's not rough and gruff, right, kind of thing. And so I think a lot of people have this tendency of thinking, you know, if they come to the dealership, that they're going to get a guy that's going to go, yeah, what do you want, kind of thing, you know, and that's not the way it is at all. Or phoning and it's like, what do you want, kind of stuff, and you know, that's not the way it is at all, is it?
No, and we aren't going to give you a printout of how to do a repair. We can't spend a whole lot of time talking to you about exactly what to do through every repair, because some of these repairs take, you know, 5 or 6 hours. So we like to address you, we like to address your concerns and help you along if you do have an issue. And then we understand too, a lot of times you're stranded and you'd like to get from A to B, and we're going to try and give you the best advice to help you do that.
And it's not necessarily to try to get your money or anything like that. It's just to help you out.
Yeah.
And if it needs to come into the shop, then we will tell you that it needs to come to the shop. And it just really does. It's not like we were trying to tell you that without helping you out. It's all about helping the customer out.
Yeah, most people understand that there's probably going to have to be another repair done
Right.
to repair your vehicle, even after you're on the road.
So don't be afraid to call or come in and talk to the specialists that we have here. They're not going to bite your head off. They're not going to be rough and gruff with you. And we're here to help you, and we're not trying to gouge you. So please don't feel that way. Richard wants to help, and he, like I said, is the shop foreman, and he's in control of what goes on back there and stuff like that. So he's more than happy to help in any way that you can. And please email any questions again. My email is timb@Hildebrand Motors, and Richard's
richardf@hildebrandmotors.com.
And you can find us on Facebook, Twitter, and you can subscribe to our YouTube channel as well. Also, we're on our website as well, and each new segment is on the front page of the website. And that's oldgm.com. Great, and thank you, Richard. And it's been a good day to talk about those frequently asked questions. And please feel free, like I said, to email those in, and or put them on Facebook even. It'd be great to hear from you. Thanks again. This has been another segment of Under the Hood, and we'll look forward to talking to you again. Bye-bye.